Welcome to the Masking Handbook for Audiometry. In this video, we'll be looking at narrow plateau with eventual overmasking. We have a right ear with moderate hearing loss and masked bone conduction results from that right side, showing a conductive hearing loss in the low frequencies. We have unmasked bone conduction results from the left side. They are unmasked, so there's no way of knowing which ear was hearing these test signals. We're not sure which ear we were testing with these unmasked bone conduction results. We'll have to deliver some masking noise to the right non-test ear here at 500 and 1000 Hertz. Here's the intraoral attenuation situation for insert earphones. We don't know the actual attenuation values, but it's possible that we have a test subject who has very high IA characteristics. If they're on the very high end of the IA spectrum for insert earphones, we may have IA as high as 90 or 100 dB. If that's the case, it would mean we could deliver really loud levels of masking noise to the right non-test ear, and it would not cross over to the opposite test ear. This would be helpful for us during masking because it would mean we could really increase the masking level, and if the person was responding to the earlier test tones, the increases in masking would not interfere with their responses. They'd still hear our test tones even with higher and higher levels of masking. This is the plateau part of the graph right here. An ear like this would be easy to mask and easy to test accurately. But what if we have a subject who's on the lower end of the intraoral attenuation scale? This would be a test subject who has very low IA characteristics. How would that affect our masked testing? It would mean that as we increase our masking levels, the noise would, at a lower level than we'd like, cross over to the other side. Now, the other side is our test ear, the one we're trying to test. So if our test ear receives masking noise, what would happen to the hearing of the test ear? Well, it will be masked, and this would affect our results because we're trying to mask the right non-test ear, not the left test ear. This makes it more difficult to test. Once we start increasing the loudness of the masking noise, it can cross to the test ear and interfere with our testing. This is the overmasking part of the graph. As the masking noise gets louder in steps, the test results get worse and worse because the overmasking is affecting the test ear side. Whereas before we had a nice wide plateau, here we have a narrow plateau due to the low intraoral attenuation values. Let's take a look at what can happen with low IA and a narrow masking plateau. We'll add 10 dB of active masking to the right ear at 500 Hertz. And when we retest, we see that there has been no shift in the left bone conduction threshold. This is an initial indicator that that left bone conduction result may be coming from the left test ear. Let's increase the masking by 10 dB again and retest. Still no change in the hearing threshold. That's a good indicator that we may have an acceptable masked result from the left side, and one that is on our plateau range. We'll increase by another 10 dB, and we now see that the threshold over there on the left side has gotten 10 dB worse. Another 10 dB increase, and the threshold has shifted again. We can see that there's a good chance the masking noise is now crossing to the opposite test ear side. With the step increases in masking, we see that we've moved off our plateau and gone into the overmasking range, where the hearing threshold keeps increasing as the masking increases to the non-test ear. If you were just following a rote protocol that prescribed, say, 3 10 dB step increases of masking to identify a masked threshold, you might miss the fact that a plateau was indeed identified. Let's use a different protocol where smaller increments of masking increases are used. We'll start with an initial 10 dB of active masking level. No change from the unmasked bone conduction threshold. We'll increase by 5 dB. No change in threshold. All is stable over there on the left side. Another 5 dB increase. It's still stable. And a final 5 dB increase. There's no change over there on the left ear. We've increased the masking noise several times and the result has remained stable. We've proven that the results were coming from the left ear because if the right ear were hearing these tones, it would have changed as the masking noise was increased to that right side. We can formally document a masked bone conduction threshold from the left ear at this frequency. When dealing with a narrow plateau, it's possible to identify a proper mask threshold. Using smaller increments of masking level increases may help. You want to identify whether you're on the plateau or not. If you do identify it, then you may be good to go with a properly masked threshold. This is the Masking Handbook for Audiometry. If you liked this video, you'll love the handbook. For more resources on masking and to learn how to purchase the book, check out maskinghandbook.com.